I want you to picture this. It's a Tuesday morning.
Okay.
Your alarm goes off, and it is absolutely pouring rain outside.
Ugh, the worst.
Right. You're lying there in the dark, you're staring at the ceiling, just listening to the rain hit the glass, and you are doing that frantic mental math that we've all done at some point in our academic lives.
Oh, yeah. The early morning negotiations.
Exactly.
Oh.
You're asking yourself, can I skip just this one lecture? Just to catch up on sleep? Will this be the one absence that secretly ruins my entire semester?
And then the panic sets in.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because you try to calculate your attendance percentage in your head. You're like carrying the one, trying to remember if you missed a Tuesday back in October.
Factoring in that one time the professor let you out 20 minutes early. Yeah.
It's so stressful, it's confusing, and honestly, it is a terrible way to start your day.
It really is.
So, welcome to today's deep dive. We are talking directly to you today about taking that exact moment of early morning panic and just completely eliminating it.
It's a universally relatable feeling, isn't it?
Oh, completely.
That sudden spike of anxiety when you realize your entire academic standing might be resting on a really shaky mental estimate of where you were 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Because it's the ambiguity that causes the stress, not necessarily the actual number itself.
I mean, I wish I had a framework like the one we're looking at today back in college. It would have saved me so many Sunday night panic attacks.
I think we all could have used it.
Seriously. So our mission today is based on a really fascinating guide. It's called Academic Attendance Mastery, Precision Planning, and Eligibility Monitoring.
A bit of a mouthful, but a great resource.
It is. And we're going to explore how to move away from that blind guesswork and step into the light of precision data.
Right.
The core of this methodology is a specific tool designed to just kill that old school, error-prone method of manually estimating your records. It's called the Topper Calculator.
And what's really fascinating here is the immediate psychological relief a tool like this provides. Yeah, the baseline mechanics are super straightforward. You just enter the total number of classes held and the exact number of sessions you've actually attended.
Making it objective.
Exactly. It establishes an objective baseline. But the real value isn't the math itself.
What is it then?
The value is removing the cognitive distortion that happens when we're stressed.
Okay, I get the anxiety part, and it sounds nice, but I'm going to play devil's advocate for a second here.
Go for it.
Is a dedicated tool really necessary for this? Like, couldn't someone just figure this out with a piece of scratch paper and basic division? We're just talking about fractions here.
You could, in theory,
Right.
but human beings are notoriously bad at doing objective math when they are under emotional duress.
That is very fair.
When you're operating on a piece of scratch paper, you're prone to cascading errors. You know, the one.
Oh, the compounding mistake.
Yeah, where you think you've missed 3 classes, but you actually missed 5 because you forgot about a holiday week.
And suddenly you are in a completely different statistical bracket than you thought you were.
Exactly. A dedicated system creates an immutable ledger. It basically takes subjective memory out of the equation entirely.
Okay, let's unpack this, because looking at the excerpts from this guide, the stakes are actually much higher than just getting a slightly lower participation grade.
Oh, absolutely.
We're talking about whether you are even allowed in the room on exam day. This is about exam eligibility.
Precisely. In many academic programs, attendance isn't just a metric for engagement. It's a gatekeeping mechanism.
Wow.
It's a binary state. You either meet the threshold or you do not pass go.
You don't even get to sit for the test.
Right. You don't get to take the exam, which means you fail the course entirely, regardless of your actual grasp of the material.
And that binary state is terrifying. If you're hovering around an 80% requirement and you dip to 79%,
You're locked out.
you're locked out. But this is where the methodology of the Topper Calculator acts as an incredible safety net.
It really does.
Because if your percentage dips below that critical limit, the tool doesn't just flash a red warning light and leave you to hyperventilate.
No, it gives you a roadmap.
It calculates exactly how many more classes you must attend consecutively to reach your target again.
Which raises an important question about how we process stressful information. Have you ever heard of the ostrich effect?
Like, where you bury your head in the sand to avoid bad news.
Exactly.
Yep.
In behavioral economics, the ostrich effect is the tendency to avoid negative financial or, in this case, academic information.
Makes sense.
When a student knows they're falling behind on attendance, the natural human instinct is avoidance. Looking at the raw percentage just feels like an indictment.
It's too painful.
The problem feels too big, so they ignore it, which of course just makes it worse over time.
But by providing the specific number of future classes required to get back above the waterline,
Yes.
this tool breaks a massive, overwhelming problem down into a tangible, actionable step.
It completely shifts the mindset from panic to execution.
Think about navigating a really stressful midterms week.
Oh, the worst time of the year.
Right. You've got a massive paper due, a group project that is completely falling apart, and maybe you're working a part-time job to pay for textbooks.
Your cognitive load is completely maxed out.
Totally maxed out. If you are also carrying around this paralyzing, vague doubt about whether you're even eligible to take your finals, that weight is crushing.
It drains the energy you need for actual studying.
Right. You're suffering from decision fatigue and just generalized anxiety.
But having this specific data,
Knowing objectively, I just need to show up to the next 4 sessions to be safe.
it clears the fog.
It really does. You can put your energy into writing your paper instead of worrying about invisible administrative red tape. You're essentially outsourcing the anxiety to a dashboard.
You are letting the data hold the stress. It's a form of cognitive offloading.
Cognitive offloading. I like that.
Yeah, you no longer have to hold that complex shifting equation in your working memory. You just look at the directive, attend the next 4 classes.
So simple.
It's a highly effective way to bypass those avoidance behaviors that derail so many academic careers.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting, though.
Oh,
Because everything we've talked about so far is reactive.
true.
It's about fixing past mistakes or clawing your way back to safety. But this framework also shifts into something the guide calls attendance planning.
Yes, the methodology makes a crucial pivot here.
Right.
It moves from being a historical record, like a trailing indicator of what you've already done, to a forecasting tool.
It becomes a leading indicator.
Exactly. It allows you to model the future by inputting hypothetical data.
Let's run a hypothetical because this is where the practical application just shines for you listening. Let's say I get invited to a family wedding out of state next month.
The common scenario.
Or, even more common, I wake up with a terrible flu. In the past, I would agonize over this.
We all do.
I would think, if I stay home, will this ruin my academic life? I would either drag myself to class, making everyone else sick in the process,
Please don't do that.
or I would stay home and spend the next 3 days stressed out of my mind.
And both of those outcomes are driven by fear and incomplete information.
Yes.
By using this tool to forecast, you can see exactly how missing that upcoming class will change your overall percentage before the class even happens.
You can see if you have the margin for it.
It's the buffer strategy. You're essentially checking your account balance before you make a purchase.
That is an excellent analogy. You have a finite currency of absences.
Think of it as an economic model for student life. You are budgeting your presence.
Budgeting your presence. I love that phrasing.
Without a clear ledger, a student with the flu might bankrupt their health out of a misplaced fear that one absence will ruin them.
Right.
Or, conversely, a student might assume they are incredibly wealthy in this currency, casually skip a class to go on a road trip, and accidentally overdraft their account.
Dropping right below that critical eligibility line.
Exactly.
It empowers you to make life choices based on hard facts. You are replacing those anxious assumptions with a concrete dashboard. You know exactly what you can afford.
Yep.
If the dashboard says a missed class drops you to 82% and your requirement is 80%,
You have the buffer.
you have the buffer. You can attend that wedding, you can stay in bed with the flu and actually rest because the data has literally given you permission.
It removes the guilt from necessary absences.
So true.
And on the flip side, it removes the false sense of security that leads to careless absences. It aligns your daily actions with reality.
But speaking of careless absences, there is a really fascinating behavioral insight in this guide regarding the weight of just one absence.
Oh, the butterfly effect.
Yes. We really need to talk about the butterfly effect of a single missed lecture, because intuitively, we are terrible at calculating cumulative risk in our heads.
We really are. We tend to view a semester linearly,
Right.
assuming every class holds the exact same weight at all times.
Yeah.
But mathematically, that just isn't true.
It's not.
The proportional impact of a single absence changes drastically depending on the total number of classes held up to that point.
Exactly. You might think, oh, it's just a 1-hour class out of a 15-week semester. It's a drop in the bucket. It's just a 1% change.
It's a dangerous trap.
Very dangerous, because depending on where you are in the term, the math in this framework shows how that single hour can actually cause a 3 or 4% swing in your overall standing.
And seeing that number drop in real time is a massive wake-up call.
Huge.
What the calculator does, in this instance, is visualize the invisible.
Visualize the invisible.
In a traditional analog setting, a missed class is just a blank space in your notebook. It doesn't feel heavy. There's no immediate consequence.
We don't feel it until later.
Right. But when you plug it into a forecasting tool and see your overall standing plummet by a specific, significant percentage point from that one absence,
you suddenly realize the density of that single hour. And for you listening, think about how that completely rewires your morning cost-benefit analysis. Let's go back to that rainy Tuesday we talked about.
Okay.
Your alarm goes off, you're tempted to hit snooze. Before, you were making a vague, emotionally driven choice. I'm tired, one class won't hurt.
I'll get the notes later.
Right. But now you can look at the data and ask a very specific question. Is this extra hour of sleep actually worth a 4% drop in my total academic standing?
And sometimes, maybe the answer is still yes.
Sure.
If you are exhausted and genuinely need the sleep, you take it. But the difference is that you're making an informed, conscious choice, fully aware of the cost.
You're not lying to yourself.
Exactly. You aren't lying to yourself.
It forces you to look at the true cost of hitting snooze. Because it's so easy to justify one absence. I'll get the notes from a friend. The professor just reads from the slides anyway.
We are masters of rationalization.
We really are. But the math doesn't care about your rationalizations. The math doesn't care that it was raining. The math just drops your percentage.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture of human behavior, this is entirely about preventing the snowball effect.
How so?
Well, behavioral economics tells us that humans need immediate feedback loops to change behavior.
Okay.
A single absence is a snowflake. It seems harmless. But if you aren't tracking them, 3 or 4 absences quickly become an avalanche that you cannot dig your way out of.
Because without that immediate visibility, the feedback only comes at the end of the semester when the professor posts the final grades.
And by then, it's far too late to change the outcome.
You're just standing at the bottom of the mountain looking at the avalanche.
Exactly. Immediate, clear feedback on a micro action like missing one class on a Tuesday allows for immediate course correction on Wednesday.
It keeps the locus of control entirely in the student's hands.
Precisely.
So what does this all mean if we flip the script?
What do you mean?
Well, we've spent a lot of time talking about survival, staying above the minimum limit, preventing disasters, avoiding the avalanche. But I know a lot of the people listening right now aren't just trying to scrape by. What about the overachievers? What if you want to absolutely crush it? Because this framework actually has a whole methodology for moving from minimum survival to academic mastery.
It does. And this is where the tool transcends simple risk management and becomes a true mechanism for excellence.
Tell me more about that.
It addresses the scenario where a student wants to achieve a percentage that is significantly higher than the bare minimum requirement.
Like going for extra credit?
Yeah, maybe they're aiming for a specific honors designation, maybe they're trying to build a flawless academic transcript for grad school, or perhaps it's just for personal satisfaction.
And the methodology accommodates this kind of ambitious goal setting beautifully.
Yes.
You don't just use it to see if you're failing. You can input a lofty target. Say you decide you want a 95% attendance rate for the term.
Solid goal.
The tool takes your existing historical data, looks at the temporal reality of the remaining classes left in the semester, and explicitly maps out the exact attendance required to hit that 95% mark.
It provides a turn-by-turn navigation system for success.
Turn-by-turn navigation. That's a great way to put it.
It's the difference between having a vague New Year's resolution-style desire to do well this semester and having a rigorous daily directive. It gamifies the experience of showing up.
I love the idea of gamifying it. A semester is a marathon, not a sprint.
Absolutely.
If you view attendance as just a sudden punitive deadline at the end of the year, you are going to burn out. It feels like a chore.
Right.
But if you use this tool to build a long-term roadmap, checking your progress over several months, you're actively adjusting your daily habits. It becomes a challenge.
And that brings us to a really profound conclusion embedded in this entire approach.
What's that?
Ultimately, this methodology of precision planning is not really about attendance at all.
No.
No, it's about behavior modification.
What do you mean?
By using the data actively, you're training yourself. You are adjusting your daily habits day by day, week by week, to ensure you hit a desired mark.
Building muscle memory.
Exactly. The calculator and the percentages are just the mechanism. The actual lasting result is a fundamental change in your personal discipline, your time management, and your ability to delay gratification.
It shifts you from a passive participant to an active engineer of your own life.
Beautifully said.
You're no longer a victim of the semester happening to you. You are taking a bureaucratic requirement and turning it into a strategic pursuit. That is incredibly empowering.
It's the essence of taking control. In a world of constant information overload, academic stress, and infinite distractions, the core synthesis of this deep dive is quite calming.
Transforming your anxious late-night assumptions into clear, actionable data is the ultimate key to maintaining absolute control over your goals.
Exactly. It takes the emotion out of the equation and leaves you with a clear path forward.
Let's recap this journey we've just taken. We started with that universally relatable anxiety of mental math, waking up in the dark, guessing your numbers, hoping you aren't ruining your eligibility.
We've all been there.
We explored how establishing an objective baseline instantly secures your peace of mind and combats the ostrich effect by giving you tangible next steps.
We also unpacked the strategic forecasting power of this approach. The ability to plan for real-life events like travel and unexpected health issues by modeling future absences.
Right.
It allows you to utilize a buffer strategy effectively, budgeting your presence like a finite currency.
Right. And then we looked at the behavioral economics behind the invisible weight of a single missed lecture. How seeing that specific immediate percentage drop can instantly clarify your cost-benefit analysis on any given morning.
Preventing those tiny rationalized absences from snowballing into an avalanche.
Exactly. Finally, we examined how to use the data not just for survival, but for mastery, setting high targets, gamifying the process, and using the framework to map a long-term strategy that modifies your daily habits to achieve excellence over the course of months.
It's a complete paradigm shift.
Which leads me to a final thought I want to leave you with today. The framework of the Topper calculator proves just how powerful it is to quantify the exact value of showing up in a classroom. It changes your behavior because it forces you to look at the math of your own choices. But it makes you wonder, if we had a similar calculator for the other areas of our lives, like learning a new skill, writing a book, or even maintaining our closest friendships, how would seeing the exact percentage drop of a single missed opportunity fundamentally change our daily choices?
That's a powerful question.
Would we still hit snooze on the things that matter most if we could see the math? Something to think about the next time you hear that alarm clock ringing in the rain.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. See you next time.